ever get that like urge to do something bigger, really make a difference. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, how it connects to spirituality, especially now with so many people feeling spiritual but not religious.
Yeah, totally. It's a big conversation these days.
And that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at Spirituality and Social Justice by Ernie Vecchio. He really digs deep into this idea and, well, it's resonating, especially, with your passion for really making a tangible impact. So one of the things that really struck me right off the bat is how Vecchio talks about spirituality, at least for the SBNR crowd, as being less about like rituals or institutions and more about connection to, well, everything, people, nature, even something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely. And that connection is key because for a lot of people, it fuels action, right? Like Vecchio talks about with environmentalism, the idea of the planet being sacred, something to protect. That's huge right now, that earth-based spirituality. And it makes sense, right? If you feel deeply connected to something, you want to take care of it, fight for it.
So it's not just about like meditating on the planet, it's about protecting it too.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how Vecchio connects that same idea to social justice. A lot of SBNRs are drawn to traditions that emphasize the worth of all individuals, which naturally leads to a commitment to things like, well, racial equality, gender equality.
It all ties together.
It does.
One thing I found really helpful was his term engaged spirituality. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? It's more than just like going on a retreat, right? Yeah.
Right. It's about taking those spiritual values, those beliefs, and, really putting them into action in the real world, creating a more just world, like think about groups like the Buddhist Peace Fellowship or the whole sacred activism movement. It's about living your beliefs.
It's like that saying, don't just pray for change, be the change.
Totally. And what I think is so interesting about this is that it challenges those traditional views of spirituality as being like purely inward focused. What Vecchio is highlighting here is how interconnected personal growth and, making the world a better place really are.
But he doesn't shy away from the hard stuff either.
Yeah.
Like he talks about this tension almost where that desire for personal growth can actually make some SBNRs hesitant to engage in social action. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, it's a real tension. Vecchio really acknowledges that.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you balance those personal practices, those individual needs with the demands of activism, right?
Okay.
And how do you make sure your own growth isn't happening, at the expense of collective action? It's a balancing act for sure.
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
So to sum it all up, there's this like fascinating kind of merging happening right now. Spirituality and social action, they're coming together, and it's really changing how people engage with the world. And if you're intrigued even a little bit by this, I definitely recommend checking out Spirituality and Social Justice by Ernie Vecchio.
It really gets you thinking. How can we each, in our own way, contribute to a more just world, a more compassionate world?